Videos are made for beginner players, so if you are an intermediate player and even an expert, don't even bother watching these. These are made for our new players trying to figure out what poker is, have some fun, win some free beers on us. Alright, to begin, what would happen is, way to start a game of poker, you have to post something called a small blind and a big blind. A small blind would be half of a big blind, and a big blind is the minimum amount of chips to play the hand. For example, in this hand, the small blind is going to be 25, and my opponent over here has to post 50. So, if I do not want to play the hand as small blind, I can choose to fold my cards. Let's just say we have a hand over here, right? I have a Jack 6, and he has A5. I would most likely want to play my Jack 6, so I'm going to just go ahead and call, which means to match the amount of the big blind. Now my opponent has the chance to either check his big blind, which means pretty much betting is over at this moment, or either raise me. Raising, for example, would mean he would put in maybe 100 extra chips, and I would either have to call his raise, which means to match that 100 extra chips, or to fold the extra 25, total of 50 I've already put in. We're just going to go ahead and call, which means match his raise. So now what would happen, something called the flop. So first, before the flop, a card is called a burn card, which is a card discarded before anything even happens. No one even gets to see this burn card, but in order for a flop to happen, you have to do a burn card. A flop is 3 cards out of the deck turned over. Right now, at the flop. So, the small blind in the beginning has the option to either bet or check. So what I would do with my Jack, I'm just going to bet out 100 chips. Now, it means now it's the big blind's turn. The big blind either can fold his 8-5 or call my bet. For the sake of the video, we're just going to head, and he's going to call me, which is matching my bet. Now, another burn card happens for the turn. The turn is the 4th card out on the board. So now we have a 7, which really didn't help my opponent, but it's my turn, would be my turn to bet. I'm going to go ahead and still fire at my pair of jacks I have currently, and my 6s. So I'm going to bet another 100 at this. So if, again, sake of the video, my opponent is going to call this hand. So it means he's going to call on the turn. Now the next hand that comes out, it will be the river. Another burn card has to go out before another card comes out. The river is the last card of the board. So now the board is complete. The board is showing 2 pair at the moment. But again, we have a 6 and a Jack. My opponent doesn't have anything, so I would bet another 100 with these 25 chips. Now, the opponent does have the option to raise, which means he could raise over my bet. A raise is anything that is double the big blind. So if the big blind is 50, a raise has to be 100. If the big blind is 100, a raise has to be 200. Right now the big blind is 50. My opponent's going to head and try to bluff me off the hand with a 500 chip. What the bluff means, my opponent has nothing in their hand at all, but he has been calling me the entire time. He wants to put a 500 bet into my 100. So he's trying to get me off this hand completely, but he's not aware what I have. In this case, the bluff's really not going to work. I'm going to go ahead and just call him with an all-in. An all-in, for example, is when the opponent or the player puts every single chip they have into the center. They bet all their chips, they have nothing left, and if they lose, they're out of the game. So my opponent at this moment probably knows he's bluffed, that's not going to work, so he's probably just going to fold this hand. Folding, again, you get rid of your cards and you're done with the hand. Hand's over. So the winner at that moment would be me. And I would get all the chips that were in the middle. How to basic poker, right? Easy as that.